Today's video, we're going to be checking out the Star Ace Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. This is the Hermione Granger teen version 1/6 scale collectible figure. Harry Potter is one of those few magical instances in which each of the movies you could see not only the characters, but of course the actors and actresses that portray them get older. They started as young kids. By the end of the franchise, they were young adults. The teenage version here of Hermione was depicted from Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which was released to theaters, if you could believe this, way back in 2004. Now, before we get to details, let's figure out how tall Hermione is. And the answer to that question is 10.5 inches. Display stand options. Hermione comes with the oval-shaped display base that features Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban in a very vibrant white. You have the neck, as well as on top of the neck, or attached rather inside the neck, is the adjustable waist clip. And much like the other figures that have had waist clips, they include some rubber caps on the ends so it doesn't actually accidentally snag onto the fabric of their outfits. Speaking of outfits, Hermione here comes with standard uniform here, consisting of a pair of black shiny shoes, black tights, a pleated, and a very nice pleated, for that matter, pleated gray skirt, a gray woven button-up cardigan, also has a white shirt, a striped red tie, and then, of course, her trademark Gryffindor wizard's jacket, which is exquisitely lined in this stunning, almost raspberry kind of colored red on the interior. And it does have a working hood on the back, not to say that you would put it over top of Hermione's head. And then finally, she's also got the Gryffindor seal, or crest, on the front of her jacket here. It looks as if it could have been just an applied sticker. Obviously not to the extent of, not like a cheap sticker, but it looks like it's been adhered, maybe an iron-on to the jacket itself. The jacket, I've already gone ahead, has a little pocket on the interior. You can conceal Hermione's wand right into there if she is not displayed with it. Yes, going back to the cardigan, it's got some really nice woven texturing to it. Really put a lot of care and effort, Star Ace do, to give you high-quality outfits for these 6-scale figure releases. The buttons on the front actually are concealing snaps on the interior, 1, 2, and 3, which you can just detach, like so, when you want to remove the jacket. Now, of course, she is also going to be coming with her casual outfit, which we will change her to in a second. But actually, you know what? Let's open that back up. Just want to show you the interior. You can see how the shirt has pleats to it. It also has its fair share of buttons. And going back to the tie, it's a combination of a red tie with slightly orangey yellow stripes running from the top of the knot all the way down to the bottom of the tie. Now, looking at her face, I have to say the face is good. I have to also say that when I first saw images of teenage Hermione online, I don't think it was this head sculpt, in all honesty. The head sculpt is also on the front of the box, which you probably saw at the beginning of this review in the turnaround, but I don't think it's the same head sculpt. If it is, it wasn't painted the same way, because I think, honestly speaking, this is a really nice head sculpt of Hermione from Harry Potter. I think it looks just like her. Now, be it as it may, I do think that the only one problem I could make about this particular head sculpt is the skin tone. I do feel the skin tone is maybe a tad shade too light, as it does look like it's awfully pale on the figure. But the eyes are nicely done, the nose, the mouth. I think it does look like her, but I do feel like the skin is maybe a shade too pale. Despite having what I feel is slightly pale skin, she does have some nice shading here on the sides in her cheek area, and she's also got some shading around her eyes. The eyes are actually nicely done. Looks like there's just a slight bit of sheen to the eyeball area, so it does look like it's got a little bit of life to it. Yeah, I have to say, I like the head sculpt. I didn't think I was going to like the head sculpt, but I think they did deliver. Hermione sports a reddish sort of curly hair. It translates well to this figure. Now, when you get this figure in hand, though, and you run your fingers through the hair, you will notice that it's slightly on the crunchy side. And 6-scale collectors often have done this as well. You can take a little bit of like an actual hairspray and add hairspray to hair if you feel like the hair, for example, is poofing too much. Now, Hermione does sport curls, and I can understand that that's maybe why they used something on top of the hair. So the hair doesn't feel soft. It feels like it's got, like I said, just a little bit of crunch to it. So I feel like they've added something to it so that the curls retain their curliness. So essentially they stay tight and they stay compact. I think without having that added to the hair was really a soft hair. I think the hair would be all over the place, especially where areas that they wanted to keep as curled as they possibly could. Nope, I have to say that whatever online problems I had looking at the figure initially, those problems have gone away now physically having her in hand. I think this is a really nice head sculpt, and equally so, a really nice looking figure of Hermione. Maybe before we switch her out into her casual outfits, we'll have a look at some of the accessories that come included with Hermione. Well, we've looked at this already, but it is worth a second look. Hermione comes with her trusty wand, which is several different shades of a lighter brown, almost borderlining an orange. You can see that there's little bands that are wrapped around it. It's actually a nice looking wand, and as with every other wizard-related character that Star Ace has released, rest assured that they also give you a hand to properly support the wand. Now, you do have to just kind of manipulate the wand a little bit onto the finger so that the hand actually properly holds it, but obviously, I think for display purpose options, I'll likely display her with the wand in hand. A little bit smaller, she comes also included with the time turner. It's on a real chain, so you can put it around her neck, and hopefully the camera can pick this up, that the interior of the time turner is a clear plastic, so you can actually see through it. Small as it is, it's got some nice sculpting details to it. Looks like it's been not maybe necessarily cast. Suppose it was cast in like a clear plastic, and then over top of that was painted in this exquisite metallic gold. Lastly, from accessory standpoint, she also comes with Crookshanks, which is, I have to say, a really nice looking cat. Now, obviously, if you've seen my review of the Hot Toys Alien Ripley, she came also with a cat. Didn't think it looked as good as this, mind you. It was really bad. Poor Jones the cat, I think, could have done a lot better. If anything, Star Ace should have done the cat for that Ellen Ripley, because this cat is really nicely done. It doesn't have any flocking or anything like that, instead favoring more a sculpted plastic. But at the very least, it looks like a cat, especially in the eye area. The eyes, not completely solid black. I don't know what they were thinking. But the face here, though, is really nicely done. There, as you could probably guess, that there's absolutely no posability here in Crookshanks. No tail articulation, no head articulation. Instead, what you're getting is just a static staction cat. But one heck of a looking cat. It's much better than the one that came with Ellen Ripley. Luckily, the cat also has nice flat feet, too. So if you want to display it next to Hermione, you don't have to worry that the cat's going to topple over either. Like with the Teenage Harry, Hermione also comes with a pair of casual clothes that you can swap out for her school uniform and her wizard's coat. Comes with a pair of jeans, which are nicely done. Doesn't look like it has real working pockets, though, but it has looplets on the top, which would then support this D-ring rainbow belt, which we will have to feed through. She also comes with a t-shirt, a pale pink shirt, and in a warmer pink, she also has a zipper top with a real working zipper, and pockets that actually work on them as well. And lastly, she also has a pair of shoes. So you can swap out with, again, everything that she's currently wearing to the casual outfit and finish them off nicely with a pair of shoes, which are very nicely sculpted and also, equally so, very nicely painted. One thing I also want to go back and talk about just before I change out her outfit, I took the hands already out of the sockets, but I also want to tell you that the jacket, which I knew I was going to forget to mention, the jacket has a wire frame running the length of the coat as well as in the individual sleeves. So you can bend the sleeves and manipulate them, and also you can manipulate the jacket if you want to have an additional flow to it. So let's go ahead and get her changed into her casual outfit. I keep interrupting myself, but here's what she also looks like without the wizard's robe. So in case you guys wanted to see her just in her regular school uniform, and this is what it would look like. Again, it also gives you a good opportunity to see some of the nice stitch work added to the actual cardigan. Stripes all the way around both the sleeves and all the way around the perimeter of the bottom area, and even has the individual, like, I don't know, the cuff as you would call it, I suppose, the bottom of the sweater as well as the sleeves here. Once you get all her clothes changed out, this is what she looks like, and actually looks quite nice. I'm debating whether I actually enjoy her a little bit more in the casual outfit, because I did really like the teenage version of Harry Potter also when he was in his casual outfit. A couple of little things to note here. Again, she's wearing her jeans. Her shoes are very difficult to get off. Not these shoes, but these shoes here. Now, imagining, if you will, and I wanted to do this initially in steps to show you how I was taking the clothing off, and I thought, I don't know, maybe leave that part off. But when you take her black tights off, her tights are over top of her, let me just show you here. Her tights are over top of her peg ball-jointed feet here. And then on top of that, if I get her to stand here. So essentially what it is, so imagining tights are coming down, tights are coming over top of these feet, and then they're being slipped in these shoes. These shoes have very little give to them. There's no snap. There's nothing that can open these up and relax them a little bit more. And you have to also keep in mind that you have to take the shoe off first. Then you have to pull the tights off the feet, and then you have to pull the feet off, because the shoes, these shoes, already have pegs built in. So you really have to take everything off from the foot standpoint of it. And I was a little worried. I had to kind of get my fingernail underneath the shoe and just kind of keep prying the heel off until I had enough clearance to wiggle to kind of pull the shoe off the foot completely. Then I could take the tights off, and then basically I put all the casual stuff back on her. So again, looking at the shoes, very nicely detailed here. You got the undersole of the shoe sculpted in there as well. The belt, I find, and I went ahead and looped the belt. I required a little bit of help, actually, of all things, from the wand. I was able to get the wand on the fabric, and I just kind of pushed the fabric through the loops using the wand. I get it all laced up, and I get it through the two D-rings here, and I do have excess belt. I suppose I could continue to run the belt through the loops until I've exhausted all the extra belt, but I've just decided for the time being to leave it as is. Got her shirt on now. Got her zipper top, zipper coat over top of that, and then I went ahead and put the time turner around her neck as well. And again, she looks really nice. I don't know which one I like more, whether I like the more casual look of Hermione, or if I liked the previously looked at uniform with of course, the wizard's coat. One thing I find does help by having her wearing this outfit, because she's got a lighter pink t-shirt and a slightly shade darker pink zip top, I find it actually doesn't make her face look as pale versus the backdrop of the otherwise dark colors. The dark colors do make her skin tone even lighter, I think, than what they really are. Ultimately, I think it does look a little bit better when she's wearing this outfit instead. Looking at Hermione's articulation, her head rotates all the way around. She also has a hinge up and down, and it looks like there is a ball joint that's sitting at the base of her neck. The neck, by the way, is a softer rubber, and actually her whole top, the top portion of her torso, is also a soft rubber. Joints hinge outward on her arms, forward and back. She has a swivel on the bicep area. She has a double hinge on the elbow, and she has a rotation and hinge on the hand. A bit of a crunch, not really all that much. Maybe a slight swivel on the waist, split on the legs, forward and back. She has a top swivel cut on the thigh, double hinge on the knee, And then lastly, looking down at her feet once we've swapped them out, her feet rotate all the way around, and she also has a hinge up and down. To some extent, she also does have an ankle pivot as well, so it lends itself a little bit better if you want to, if you want to have the figure slightly in a more dramatic pose. I quite like the teen version of Hermione Granger, and I find myself torn once again with, much like I did with the Harry Potter, as to which way I want to display the figure. While I really like the school uniform and the wizard's coat, I have to admit, having them in their casual outfits definitely makes them stand out from their previous released counterparts. Now, speaking regarding Hermione here, I have to admit, when I saw images of her online, and also, even if you look at the box artwork, I feel as if the head sculpt has been changed. And I don't know if it be the case that Star Ace went in and re-sculpted the head sculpt, because I do think it looks different than what we initially saw online. In hand, I like this head sculpt a lot. It has a little... two nitpicks, we'll say two nitpicks overall. One of which being the hair can be a little on the crunchy side because I feel like they've added something to it to keep the curls on the hair nice and tight. And maybe they've added a little bit of hairspray or something the equivalent of a hairspray. So the hair isn't a very soft feeling hair, but that's expected for a character that has curly hair. You want to kind of keep that as much as possible on the figure, and you don't want the hair to be, outrageously all over the place. The only other thing I would say about the figure is that the skin tone does feel at times to be a little on the pale side. More paler I find when she's wearing her school uniform than when she's wearing the casual outfit. I think it's because she's got the lighter colorings of the pink that kind of offset the pale skin of her face. Maybe they could have gone in and given her slightly one shade warmer on the way of her skin tone, so her face didn't have as much that pale kind of, I don't want to say clamminess, but it does look like it's a little on a pale side. Feels like Hermione is maybe coming down with something by the nature of how pale her skin is. The crunchiness of the hair and the pale of the skin can't really detract from the fact that this is really a great looking head sculpt on Hermione, and I actually do think I prefer this one over the child versions of Hermione that we've already looked at on this channel. I would highly recommend actually picking this up, especially if you've already picked up the teenage version of Harry Potter, because I actually think all around, this figure turned out a lot better in hand than what I initially thought she was going to look like based on what I saw online images of her. If you guys are interested in picking this one up for yourself, I think actually right now she's on a pre-order or on a wait list on some website, so if you are interested in picking her up, you may have to get on a waiting list to get her. But I really would highly recommend it, especially for the fact that you can give her really two distinct looks, either the school uniform look or the casual look that we've got here in final looks. Today we were having a look at the Harry Potter, and this was the Prisoner of Azkaban, the teen version of Hermione Granger. If you guys also want to go back and have a look at some of the previously looked at Harry Potter figure reviews, I got a playlist on this channel that you can go back and check out at your viewing pleasure. Make sure also you've stayed tuned and subscribed to this channel, because certainly more videos will be coming your way. As always, thanks for watching, as you always do, guys. I'll see you guys next time.